Um, my decade question is between social media, um, parents being overworked, stress, bullying, in the decades that you taught, what were the things that you saw become better? And what were the things that you saw not so great? Kimberly, if you want to start.
So the first year that I was in the classroom, I taught sixth grade, and we were just rolling out the Common Core curriculum. And I was very nervous about it because I was not a strong math student. And I looked at the things I needed to teach, and I thought, oh my gosh, there's so much. I came to love the core curriculum because I am not someone who thinks necessarily in the box. And we would always teach multiple strategies. And if you can consistently get to the same answer using your strategy that works, then, you know, and it's not algorithm, that's okay. And I was not someone who learned from algorithm. I had a teacher in high school state. I would go in every time there was tutoring, and he would give me the same responses when I would ask questions. And at the end of the year, he said, "You do not need to take math next year, and I highly suggest that you do not." You're done. So, of course, I was very nervous when I needed to teach math. But I learned some new strategies when I was teaching them to the students, and my math skills right away in year one became much stronger. And then I could say to the kids, it's okay. You don't have to do it the algorithm method. You have all these other options. So for me, that was a turning point because I related to the kids that had trouble in math and could give them an alternative way to work it out.
And then what was one thing that you just saw during your span that you know, just didn't push the education system forward?
I think the biggest issue is how districts will start a new program and they won't give it enough time before they say, okay, that maybe didn't give us the results we wanted, and they roll out another program. And then they'll work that one for a while. And then they'll roll out another program. And I'm seeing some programs in the classrooms now when I'm subbing that were from 15 years ago and coming back again. And
And
if
so
we
it's
would
like
have
that,
just stuck with it.
would have just stuck with it, we could have been so much further
Mm-hmm.
along versus, the bell bottoms in the closet, where now we're
Mm-hmm.
paying a higher price for, an implementation that, like you said, we had 15 years ago. Bridget, how about
Mm-hmm.
you? What was one thing that, in your tenure was very education forward, great for education, and then what was the one thing that
Okay, I'm going to piggyback with what Kimberly said. When I first started teaching, and I was a kindergarten and second grade teacher, teachers got together at a team level and we decided what we were going to teach and when we were going to teach it. And a lot of it was by seasons, right? Because we were primary. And I never felt like I really knew exactly what the end point was for these kids other than what our little group had agreed on. And we were finding it wasn't meshing with other schools within our own district as kids transferred in and out. So when we got the Common Core, and I've worked on that committee at district because, like with Kimberly, I loved it. It said, this is what you're teaching, and this is why we're teaching it, and it relates to the rest of the state, it relates to the United States. Here's what a second grade or third grade, here's what they have to know, right? So I think that was fantastic. I agree with Kimberly. I became so smart as a teacher only because I learned through these new programs how to present things, like it. So it was great. I loved that when we went to Common Core and we went to a universal district wide. Here's what needs to be taught. And everybody was on one page. And in the beginning, we all met together and we collaborated. And it was easier for kids to transfer in and out of our schools because we were both in a very mobile district. So if somebody was with Kimberly at Granada, I might end up with that same student and that family over at Montebello easily, you know. So that to me was so positive, and I appreciated that.